The WNBA world was left in shock after a heated altercation between Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark, two of the league's biggest stars. It wasn't just any game, and this wasn't just any clash. When the intensity of the matchup boiled over, what followed left fans, analysts, and players in disbelief. Was this really an assault or just a competitive moment taken too far? And what happened after the incident? The fallout was nothing short of extraordinary, and the WNBA will never be the same. Let's break down what led to this moment, the explosive aftermath, and what this means for the future of women's basketball. The highly anticipated game between Caitlin Clark's team and Alyssa Thomas's squad had all the makings of a classic showdown. Caitlin Clark, known for her exceptional shooting and court vision, was already making waves as one of the WNBA's most electrifying young players. Her transition from college to the pros was nothing short of meteoric, and she quickly became a fan favorite. On the other hand, Alyssa Thomas, a seasoned veteran, had solidified herself as one of the league's most dominant players, known for her relentless defense, rebounding, and leadership. From the opening tip, it was clear that this game was going to be physical. Clark had been in a groove, hitting long-range shots and making slick passes that had the crowd buzzing. Thomas, determined not to let Clark's shooting spree continue, turned up the defensive intensity. Known for her toughness and refusal to back down, Thomas was everywhere on the court, guarding Clark with unmatched aggression, fighting for every loose ball, and setting hard screens. But things took a dark turn midway through the third quarter. Clark, coming off a screen, attempted to drive toward the basket when Thomas stepped in to cut her off. What happened next was both unexpected and shocking. As Clark tried to maneuver around her, Thomas extended her arm, making hard contact with Clark's body. It was no ordinary defensive play. It was a full-force shove that sent Clark crashing to the floor. The arena fell silent as fans watched in disbelief. Clark, visibly shaken, remained on the ground for several moments. The referees immediately called a timeout, rushing over to assess the situation. Replays showed the forceful contact, and social media exploded with reactions. Fans and analysts alike began debating whether Thomas's actions were intentional or simply an over-aggressive play that went wrong. Many called it an outright assault, while others argued that it was just a heat-of-the-moment decision in a high-stakes game. As Caitlin Clark slowly rose to her feet, it was clear that the altercation had rattled her, but in typical Clark fashion, she brushed it off and insisted on staying in the game. The referees reviewed the play for several minutes before making their decision. The verdict? A flagrant 2 foul on Alyssa Thomas, leading to her ejection from the game. The crowd erupted in mixed reactions, some applauding the decision while others were furious, believing the punishment was too harsh for what they saw as a physical but not malicious play. Alyssa Thomas, clearly frustrated, protested the call as she walked off the court. Known for her fiery competitiveness, she had never been one to shy away from tough play, but this was a different level of intensity. In her post-game statement, Thomas defended her actions, saying, "It was a hard foul, but that's basketball. I play tough, I play physical, and sometimes things get heated. There was no intent to harm Caitlin, and I respect her as a competitor, but I won't apologize for playing the game the way I do." But the fallout from the incident was far from over. As the game resumed without Thomas, Caitlin Clark, despite being visibly shaken by the incident, continued to lead her team with poise. Her focus never wavered, and she delivered a stellar performance, finishing the game with 28 points and several key assists. Fans praised her resilience, and her ability to stay composed in such a high-pressure situation only solidified her reputation as one of the league's brightest stars. However, the incident with Thomas loomed large over the game, casting a shadow on what should have been another showcase of Clark's incredible talent. The next day, the WNBA announced that it would be launching an investigation into the incident. The league wanted to ensure that players' safety remained a top priority, and given the intensity of the altercation, the situation warranted further review. In the days that followed, debates raged across sports talk shows, social media platforms, and fan forums. Was Alyssa Thomas justified in her actions, or did she cross the line into dangerous play? Did the referees make the right call in ejecting her, or was this an overreaction in the heat of the moment? The WNBA had a difficult decision to make. On one hand, Thomas's reputation as a tough, physical player was well known, and she had always played the game with an edge. On the other hand, the league was growing in popularity, and incidents like this could either galvanize or tarnish its image. Player safety was paramount, but so was maintaining the competitive nature of the game. After reviewing the footage and interviewing both players, the league handed down its ruling. Alyssa Thomas would be suspended for 2 games due to the severity of the flagrant foul. The suspension drew mixed reactions. Some felt it was a fair punishment, given the force of the foul and the potential danger it posed to Clark. Others believed that the suspension was excessive, arguing that in a league as physical as the WNBA, these types of plays happen, and Thomas's ejection from the game should have been enough. Alyssa Thomas herself remained unapologetic, doubling down on her stance that while the foul was hard, it was part of the game. "I'm not here to hurt anyone, but I'm also not going to change the way I play. I'm a competitor and I'll continue to play with intensity." Caitlin Clark, for her part, handled the situation with grace. In interviews following the incident, she refused to fan the flames of the controversy, instead focusing on the game itself. "It was a tough play, but that's part of basketball," Clark said. "Alyssa is a great player, and I respect her for how hard she competes. We've all been in situations where emotions run high, and I'm just glad we were able to finish the game strong." Her calm demeanor and refusal to escalate the drama earned her even more respect from fans and fellow players. As the WNBA season continued, the incident between Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark remained a talking point, but both players moved forward. Thomas returned from her suspension with the same intensity she had always played with, determined to prove that the incident wouldn't define her career. Clark, meanwhile, continued to rise, consistently delivering standout performances and solidifying her place among the league's elite. The altercation, however, sparked a broader conversation about the nature of competition in the WNBA. Fans and analysts debated whether the league's growing physicality was a sign of its evolution or a cause for concern. Was the WNBA becoming too aggressive, or was this just part of the natural progression of a league where the stakes were higher than ever? Many pointed out that similar incidents occur in the NBA, often without the same level of scrutiny. Others argued that the WNBA, in its quest for growth and legitimacy, needed to hold its players to a higher standard of sportsmanship. The league, for its part, took the incident as an opportunity to reinforce its commitment to player safety while also celebrating the intensity and passion that make the WNBA one of the most exciting leagues in sports today. In a statement following the investigation, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert emphasized the importance of balancing competitiveness with player welfare. The WNBA is home to some of the most talented and driven athletes in the world. We encourage our players to compete at the highest level, but we also have a responsibility to ensure their safety and well-being. This incident is a reminder that while basketball is a physical game, it's also a game of respect. The clash between Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark was more than just a physical altercation. It was a defining moment in the evolution of the WNBA. For Alyssa Thomas, it served as a reminder of the fine line between toughness and over-aggression, while for Caitlin Clark, it highlighted her ability to stay composed under pressure and lead her team with grace. Both players emerged from the incident stronger, but the broader conversation it sparked about the nature of competition in the WNBA will continue to shape the league in the years to come. As the WNBA grows, moments like this will continue to test the boundaries of competition, intensity, and sportsmanship. Fans will always be drawn to the passion and fire that players like Thomas and Clark bring to the court, but the league will have to find ways to ensure that this intensity doesn't cross the line into dangerous territory. One thing is for certain, the WNBA is a league on the rise, and its players are more competitive and skilled than ever before. This incident was just one chapter in a much larger story, and as the league continues to grow, fans can expect more moments of brilliance, drama, and intensity. The rivalry between Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark, whether or not it continues on the court, will always be remembered as a pivotal moment in the WNBA's journey to greatness.